Welcome back. In our previous episode, we learned how genetics helps us in understanding how life works and how genetic knowledge is transforming medicine and agriculture. In this video, we'll discover how genetic analysis plays a crucial role in forensic science, helping unravel two remarkable mysteries. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. The field of genetics also plays a crucial role in forensic science and the justice system. One of the most powerful applications of genetics is DNA fingerprinting, also known as DNA profiling. What exactly is DNA fingerprinting? It is a technique used to identify individuals based on their unique DNA patterns. This technique helps solve crimes, identify victims, establish family relationships, and support legal investigations. Now let's see how DNA fingerprinting works. The first step begins by collecting biological evidence such as blood, hair, saliva, skin cells, or other bodily materials found at the crime scene or from an individual. In the second step, DNA is then isolated and purified from the collected biological sample in the laboratory. Then, specific regions of DNA that vary greatly among individuals are examined. These regions act like genetic markers. Then, the analyzed DNA fragments are used to generate a DNA profile or a genetic fingerprint. This profile consists of patterns unique to that individual. Finally, the DNA profile is compared with profiles from suspects, victims, relatives, or databases to determine whether a match exists or not. Now we come to the question, where is DNA fingerprinting used? DNA evidence can link a suspect to a crime scene or help exclude innocent individuals, and this evidence is used in legal cases. DNA profiling can also determine relationships such as paternity, maternity, and other family connections. Following natural disasters, accidents, or mass tragedies, DNA can help identify victims. Stored DNA profiles can be compared with new evidence years later, helping investigators solve cold cases and identify previously unknown suspects. DNA holds powerful clues. By analyzing genetic evidence, science helps uncover the truth, identify individuals, and support justice. One of the most famous examples of genetics being used in forensic science is the Narborough murders case in England. This case demonstrated the power of DNA fingerprinting and changed criminal investigations forever. Now let's look at what exactly happened. In the early 1980s, two teenage girls were found murdered in the village of Narborough in Leicestershire, England. Although the crimes occurred few years apart, investigators suspected that the same person was responsible for both the murders. Scientists then collected biological evidence from both crime scenes. When forensic experts analyzed the samples, they discovered that the DNA profiles from the two cases matched, confirming that the crimes had been committed by the same individual. At one stage of the investigation, a local man was arrested and even confessed to one of the murders. However, when scientists compared his DNA with the DNA found at the crime scene, the profiles did not match. This proved that he was innocent and he was released. This was also one of the first time that DNA evidence was used not only to identify a suspect but also to clear an innocent person. To find the real culprit, police carried out a large-scale DNA screening program. More than 5,000 local men voluntarily provided DNA samples. Surprisingly, none of the samples matched the DNA evidence from the crime scenes. The breakthrough came when investigators learned that a man named Colin Pitchfork had persuaded a coworker to submit a DNA sample on his behalf. Witnesses later revealed this deception, leading police to investigate him further. When Pitchfork's DNA was tested, it matched the DNA evidence from both the scenes exactly. As a result, he was arrested, confessed to the murders, and was convicted. The impact of this case was enormous. It became one of the earliest criminal cases solved using DNA fingerprinting. It demonstrated how genetic evidence can accurately identify the guilty while protecting innocent individuals from wrongful conviction. Most importantly, the Narborough murders case established DNA fingerprinting as a powerful forensic tool and transformed criminal investigations around the world. Before we dive into the mystery of the missing Romanov family, we need to understand a remarkable structure found inside almost every cell of our body, the mitochondrion, and the special type of DNA it carries. This tiny piece of genetic material would eventually help scientists solve one of history's greatest royal mysteries. Mitochondrial DNA is used in DNA fingerprinting as it is present in high copy numbers and is inherited solely through the maternal line. This makes mitochondrial DNA valuable for analyzing highly degraded samples such as hair shafts, bones, or teeth, where the amount of nuclear DNA might be insufficient for forensic analysis. As we know, mitochondria are often called as powerhouses of the cell because they produce energy needed for cellular activities. What makes mitochondria unique is that they have their own DNA, separate from the DNA found in the cell nucleus. This DNA is small, circular, and is known as mitochondrial DNA. Unlike nuclear DNA, which is inherited from both parents, mitochondrial DNA is inherited almost exclusively from the mother. This means that mitochondrial DNA is passed down through maternal generations with few mutations over time. Another important feature is that each cell contains many mitochondria and each mitochondrion contains multiple copies of mitochondrial DNA. As a result, there are hundreds to thousands of copies of mitochondrial DNA in a single cell, making it much easier to recover as compared to nuclear DNA, especially from old or damaged samples. This characteristic makes mitochondrial DNA extremely valuable in forensic investigations where only small amounts of biological material may be available. Mitochondrial DNA can be used in DNA fingerprinting and identification. Since mitochondrial DNA is present in many copies and can often be recovered even when nuclear DNA is degraded, it can be used to analyze and establish biological relationships and confirm identities. This unique property of mitochondrial DNA would become the key to identifying the remains of members of the Romanov family and confirming their connection to the living maternal relatives. The Romanovs were the last royal family of Russia. Tsar Nicholas II, his wife Alexandra, and their five children were executed during the Russian Revolution in the year 1918. After their deaths, their bodies disappeared, and for many years people were uncertain about what exactly had happened to them. The mystery continued until the 1990s when the skeletal remains believed to belong to the Romanov family were discovered in a mass grave near Yekaterinburg, Russia. However, finding the remains was only the first step. Scientists still needed to prove that the bones actually belonged to the royal family. To do this, researchers extracted DNA from the remains. Since the remains were more than 70 years old and much of the nuclear DNA had degraded, they turned to mitochondrial DNA, which is often better preserved because it exists in many copies within each cell. The mitochondrial DNA obtained from the remains was then compared with the DNA of living maternal relatives of Tsarina Alexandra. We know that mitochondrial DNA is inherited from the mother and hence can be used to trace maternal family lines. The results showed a match between the mitochondrial DNA from the remains and that of Alexandra's living relatives. This provided strong evidence that the remains belonged to the members of the Romanov family. Further mitochondrial DNA fingerprinting confirmed the findings, finally identifying the remains as those of Tsar Nicholas II, his family, and their loyal companions. This case became one of the most famous applications of mitochondrial DNA analysis in history. I hope this video has helped you to appreciate the fascinating role genetics plays in uncovering the truth and solving mysteries through forensic science. From identifying individuals to resolving historical questions, genetics continues to be a powerful tool in the pursuit of justice and knowledge. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel for more engaging content in genetics and life sciences. Goodbye.